So we're performing a story called Vamana Avatara. Literally that translates into, Vamana means the fifth in the context of Avatara. Avatara means the descent of the divine into the mundane. So our story is basically, we have three characters: Mahabali the king, Sukracharya the king's minister or advisor, and a dwarf who then turns into Vishnu the god, hence the descent of the divine into the mundane. So the king is consulting his advisor on what to do, what charities to donate his money to, because he's a very generous and giving king in terms of his money. And the king advises him to organize a ritual. It's called a yaga. It's a sacrificial ritual, so that the king can give away anything that he has through his generosity. So he goes and he organizes the yaga, where the dwarf comes in. The king's advisor and the king are very suspicious of who this young dwarf is. They don't know what his intentions are. And the dwarf comes and says, "I don't want anything more than a plot of land as long as my 3 feet." And so the king and his advisor are laughing at him and pitying him, and they just grant him everything because they feel bad for this little dwarf. And then as soon as they grant it to him, he turns into Vishnu. He starts growing into Vishnu. And so the king is all of a sudden taken aback, and he's in wonder of this god and his presence. And he allows, as a sign of respect, for Vishnu to place his foot on top of his own head. So that is our story.
And I'll talk to you about the makeup that we choose. We have 2 types of characters. These 2 will be Patra characters, which are characters that have green faces, and they represent heroes and kings. And we decided to have our costume represent our makeup, and so they're wearing makeup, obviously. The other character is myself, and I'm a Manuku character, which is typically a character that is played for female Kathakali characters. But in my context, it can also be played for sages, and I'm a sage because I'm advising the king. And I'm wearing yellow for the Manuku character.
So some of the main mudras that we do does this, which means king, and I also do it a lot once the power switches and when I'm begging the king for land. Does this often, which actually means king's advisor, and we also do this a lot, which is bow to show at first then after when I'm Vishnu, you see these 2 doing this a lot by bowing to me. And probably the most important one is this, which is Vishnu itself, and you'll see that a lot once I'm Vishnu.
Maya